49er faithful, it's that time. The 49ers are entering their bye week, and we get to chillax, and we could talk some grades. Where do the 49ers stand right now as they're currently 4-4? Let me know what you guys think. We'll be 49er faithful, what's going on? Welcome to the Wayne Breezy Show. What's good, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well on this bye week. It's Wednesday. Normally, today is the day we do the game plan with the one and only John Chapman. We will be getting back to that next week as we prepare for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 49ers will be traveling to Tampa Bay to be in Florida, taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are also currently right now 4-4 and probably will be 4-5 because they play the Chiefs. So let's see what happens. But I'm excited because I'm happy to be entering a break, man. If you guys are happy about a break, make some motherfreaking noise, show hands, thumbs up, whatever. You know why? Because everybody needs a break. Everybody needs to break and just relax and kind of rest and, recharge. I think that's what it comes down to. Like, what are the 49ers going to do to recharge themselves to go another half? Like, they literally got lucky and got the break at the midpoint of the season, right? We're going into week 9. They played 8 games, and now they get the break, and then they got another 9 games to go. So it's like the perfect time, in my opinion, for a break. All right. So before we get the show started, definitely want to send my love, my condolences, my prayers out to the Ward family. If you don't know what happened on yesterday, Charvarius Mooney Ward and his family, they lost their baby girl, their 1-year-old baby girl. I believe it was due to heart complications and things like that. And we just want to send our prayers, our condolences out to him. And, I heard John Lynch talk, and I'm hoping that, they just allow this man to take as much time as he needs to get himself back to some type of normal state mind, so I don't know how Ward handles certain things. Everybody deals with death a different way, but I can't start this show without literally just sending my love, my condolences, and definitely prayers for his strength, his family's strength, the mother's strength, like just strength, healing, you name it, whatever they need. Let's just be there, support them as a fan base. Let's show everybody why the 49er faithful is the greatest daggone fan base in the world. And if you can, maybe if you tag them in stuff, just let them know you're thinking about them. Let them know you're praying for them and things like that. If you don't tag them in stuff, still let them know that you're praying and you're thinking about them. So our prayers definitely go up to Charvarius Mooney Ward and the family on their loss of their little baby girl. All right, on their loss of the little baby girl. With that being said, I believe he's going to be granted plenty of time to, grieve and do the things that he needs to do to get himself right. If he chooses to come back to football, that's on him. I really love the organization. Listening to John Lynch talk about that, I thought that was pretty spot on. Some of the things that he was saying, I just was like, man, this is what I'm talking about. He really talked about how they're a family, and they might not share the same blood, but when they put on that red and gold, when they're part of this organization, it's not just a job, it's a family. And I'm hoping we can kind of reunite our fan base and stuff about that. You know what I'm saying? So that's super important. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, but we definitely be praying for Mooney Ward and the family. All right. As far as 49ers news and updates, again, I got a chance to listen to John Lynch. They asked him a couple of questions, and he talked about the trade deadline and what the 49ers plan to do. And, they make calls. They make calls, and, nothing's imminent as of right now. Nothing's pretty much in the works. He said that they weren't in on Deontay Johnson. If I was on KMBR, if I was Murph, or I would ask about a couple of other players, but we'll see what happens when it comes to the trade deadline, which is next week on election Day, which is next week on Election Day. So, I don't know about you, but I'm hoping the 49ers make some type of trade because just to take away from what happens on election, that's gonna be a crazy day. Now that I think about it, so I'm hoping there's some type of thing, some type of transaction goes down. Who is it going to be for? Have no clue. Not sure who's a good fit out there for the San Francisco 49ers. He talked about being a good fit. Also not sure who's available at this point, and who the Niners feel like they can use to help put them over the top. What I do know is this: San Francisco 49ers got a lot of players that can return from the IR. They got a lot of players. And let's start with Christian McCaffrey. The Niners, he talked about Christian McCaffrey. I thought this was so cool because Christian McCaffrey said this about players on IR. He said the players on IR are not allowed to practice, but they can work out on the sideline. So everything that Christian McCaffrey and some of the other players that are on the IR, they have been working out on the sideline. So anytime you hear the practice report, oh, such and such is working out on the sideline, it's because by law of the the CBA of the law, CBA, collection bargaining agreement, those players cannot participate in team activities. What they can do is work out on their own on the sideline. So they said, John Lynch said on Monday, they'll probably be ramping up, you know what I'm saying, the practice. They'll know a little bit more. You heard Ian Rappaport talk about there's been no setbacks with Christian McCaffrey, at least with his working out. And I think this is going to be the perfect time to unleash the CMC. Now, let me just quick question out there. How you guys feeling? If CMC returns, do you want him on a snap count or do you want him full throttle back into the offense? Just curious to know what you guys are thinking. Full throttle, thumbs up, thumbs down, snap count. Let me know what you guys think out there in the live comment section. If you're watching the show, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. But let me know in the comment section as I go back and read the comments just to see what you got, see what you're thinking. Me personally, if he's healthy, he's got to be a full go for me. If that's 20 carries, I'm with it. Like whatever it takes at this moment for the 49ers to get their mojo back. I think the thing that we've been missing is the mojo. I don't know what the mojo is. I don't know if it's a player, if it's a mentality, if it's the way we play. I think it's fair to say that the 49ers, this version of the 49ers at 4-4 looks different. And I can't really recall the last time we were like 500 at the bye week. I do remember losing some games heading into the bye, and we needed to kind of like resurge or whatever, but at least the Niners won on their way into the bye week. And not only did they beat a team, they beat an NFC team. So that is a stepping stone. And I think getting into the bye week, knowing that we got some players coming back or returning off the IR, I honestly don't know if Christian McCaffrey is going to be good to go, but he's an IR player. So I'm going to give you a list of the IR players. You got Christian McCaffrey. You got Talanoa Hufanga. You got, let's see, John Feliciano, and you got Ambry Thomas. Those are players that will be eligible who've passed that 4-week mark and should be eligible. Maybe Hufanga got to take another week off. I'm not sure if it's another week or two for Hufanga, but at least those three, Feliciano, Ambry Thomas, and Christian McCaffrey could be eligible, and that practice window can open. Now, I know a lot of people are probably asking, well, Breezy, why they not opening the practice window? Well, technically, they don't have to. I mean, we watched teams just activate players like Puka Nacua, activated. I mean, the dude was activated on Thursday night and played on Thursday night. So the Niners technically, I guess they don't have to announce anything or whatever like that. I don't know. I thought that they did. But we'll see what happens. If the practice window is activated for Christian McCaffrey, that's good news for the 49ers. Also, they'll be getting back, hopefully, Juwan Jennings with the hip injury. Jake Moody as a kicker. They'll be getting him back. Kevin Givens will be back for rotation on the defensive front. And I know a name that we haven't really talked about a lot, but Dre Greenlaw will probably be week-to-week evaluated. and he can be on the near of return coming off of that PUP list. So that's another bonus sign for the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers got two players, in my opinion, that are, I would say, bonus players. Dre Greenlaw on the offense, Dre Greenlaw on the defense, Christian McCaffrey on the offense. You get those two players back, your defense is immediately better, your offense is immediately better. There's no questions, ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, that is what it is. And people know that. Teams know that. I think they were trying to beat on the Niners while they were down. And that's part of the game. You beat on the team when they're down, because the Niners will be at somewhat full throttle the next time they play again. So you look at the two losses, and I know a lot of people are pissed off. I'm like, me too. You lose to the Rams, you lost to the Cardinals, and I think we were more upset on how we lost. That's just me. I think I was more upset on how we lost to those two guys. But it's cool. Like, they lost. They're going to play those teams again, right? And they're going to play those teams again. They're going to be coming back. Uncle Salty, what's going on? Shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys get the fall air horns. I didn't even get a chance to say hello. I just wanted to send my condolences and prayers, man. Uncle Salty, thank you so much. Red Jet Shell, Jax is in the building. I'm looking at everybody I see right in front of my face. 49er Jeff in the building. Christy Marie, Manny Martinez in the building. It's crazy. Nigel, what's good? You probably first in the building. So, just shout out to everybody out there. But listen, man, I'm talking about really the Niners are going to probably be the healthiest as they have been with some of these players returning. And again, we don't know if their practice window is going to be open from the IR, but my hopes are that Christian McCaffrey will be good to go. Drake Greenlaw, I think they'll ease in a little bit slower, but man, they need him. He's much needed. Even John Lynch said, you miss Dre Greenlaw out there on the football field. Ben, what's going on? Why? Ben said he was first. My bad, Ben. And the reason why is because his ability to cover space. I think the Niners, if you're a football fan and you're wondering why so many daggone missed tackles, why so many, for one, younger players out there and maybe some older players out there. Two, just tackling in space, being able to cover space, coverage, tackling, those little things, those little fundamental things. You know what I'm saying? Get y'all questions ready. Uncle Salty got a question. I know he be on the go. Let's get this question out here. Wayne, how do the Niners avoid losses like the Rams and the Cardinals? Fix the offense or fix the defense at the trade deadline? What a dope question. You're not gonna like my answer, and I'm gonna tell you why. I've been evolving as a person, as a human being, as a content creator, and I've not endowed myself into film study. It's not who I want to be, but I do want more of an understanding of the why. I watch film because I want to know why and what I'm looking at. So when I watch a game, I'm watching a game, and because I got to do so many live shows, I'm just watching the game. And the game for everybody, including myself, mainly entertainment, but I do watch it with a different set of eyes for some reason and listen to it with a different set of ears. So it's like I got 4 eyes, 4 ears at the same time, like just trying to watch the game. So when I go and watch film and I'm looking at the film, Uncle Salty, I'm literally seeing mistakes. And I don't know if they need to address anything at the trade deadline. I know we may want that. I think the Niners have enough cap space to do so. But if I had to address any position, I think I ramp up the pressure on the defense. You always supplement the defense. For me, it's about supplementing the defense. I think the Niners, I know the loss of Brandon Ayuk sucks and it's going to hurt. I would love them to get a veteran that can come in and fulfill that void. But the veteran that I thought we were going to get got injured. Christian Kirk is done for the season. So if they were going to trade for anybody, it had to be Captain Kirk. It could be Cortland Sutton. He could be a guy, but he never really did it for me. I don't know about you. Cortland Sutton wasn't the dude. But what I'm watching are small, minor, fundamental mistakes offensively and defensively. What happens is offensively, it hurts because the team can't get themselves into a rhythm. Hence why I want us to go and get one of them veteran receivers that can fit this offense. The question is, who is that player? Number two, defensively, the reason why we're not closing out the games is because them young guys out there are just making mental mistakes. And if you don't believe me, go listen to John Lynch on CanBR. Everything I've been saying, he just reiterated it. And I'm like, that's what I see on film. I see in the last game, I see one of our favorite rookies, Malik Mustafa, just make a mental error. Oh, we're in zone, and he stayed in zone. No, dog, y'all was in man, and your man was wide open. It be them little mental mistakes, right? And so I don't know if they need to add anybody to fix. If they're gonna add a player, maybe they get more depth as far as a pass rush. But they are getting Yetur back, Gross Matos. He'll be coming back. I don't know how he's going to be when he comes back, but the Niners got some players. I'm liking what I'm seeing from some of these players. I do. They need reps. They need snaps. So I don't know if they make a move, Uncle Salty. I know it's a long-ass answer, but how do you avoid losses to the Rams and the Cards? Defense couldn't tackle at the end of the day. That was one of the worst missed tackling games we saw all season. Why is the defense not tackling? It's not like James Conner literally ran over the Niners. Like, he made the Niners miss. Like, and excuse me, he didn't even make the Niners miss. They just had him and wouldn't tackle. Fundamentals. Little fundamentals, bro. Little fundamentals for me. Uncle Salty. Great question, too. Just to follow up on your question. So bring back someone like Arden Key. I don't even know if Arden Key would want to come back here. I think Arden Key thought he had a home here, and he got hurt. He got hurt. Remember, he got injured. But we'll see what happens, man. Like, I think if it's going to be a move, it's going to be for a player like Arden Key, like a low-key motor guy on the defensive side. Low-key, Manny Martinez defensive line. Yeah, like low-key motor guy. Slick, what's good, baby? Slick 68 in the building. So like that's what I think, because you're not going to find a Dre Greenlaw. You're not going to find... There's nobody out there that you're going to find. And again, let's say Mooney Ward takes some time off. You got the rookie out there. You got Isaac Yiadom. You got Rocky Yassin. Like, these are players that I think the 49ers are high on that just haven't had the opportunity to get a lot of reps. And again, I'm going to go back to executing or brain farts. You go back to the last game, and the film will be uploaded on the Patreon. So you get the offensive plays and the defensive plays on the Patreon. You got to join the black tier, but you'll get that and you'll see what I'm talking about. But Renardo Green, fan favorite, rookie favorite, maybe rookie of the year. I don't know, but he just makes a bad play. He has a bad read, and there's a touchdown in the result. You know what the 49ers did? You know what Nick Sorensen did after that? I didn't even know it watching the live game. If you go back to that series, after DK Metcalf scores his second touchdown, because him and you guys told me, you guys said that they collided to each other. Well, I found out how they collided. First, I thought they just ran into each other. I'm like, what kind of football folly shit is that? That's not what happened. DK Metcalf set them up. It was perfect. It was the perfect pick play, and DK used the defender to pick. He ran a route. You got Jair Brown trying to get to the flat, and DK ran his man who was covering him, Renardo Green, into Jair Brown. Boom, they cancel each other out. DK's wide open. You can't be mad at DK. It's just awareness, maybe, from the rookie. And it's just like, hey, man, you got to know that this guy's coming to get to the flat. You got to find a way to get around. And so they cancel each other out. He's wide open in the end zone. So after that play, I don't want to say he was benched, but they took him out and they put in Yiadom. They put in the vet, and then the vet, they went for and out. So that's what I mean by the young players. And sometimes in certain situations, they make mistakes. And when you go back to the Rams game, you go back to these Cardinals, you go back to some of these losses, you can blame the play calling all you want, but at the end of the day, players still failed to execute. So little mistakes, and I'm not talking penalties. That's a whole nother topic. You look at this team, that's a whole nother topic. Because if you had to ask yourself, what's been the 49ers' downfall of this season? Injuries, penalties, fundamentals. Pick one. That should be a poll question. Never mind the grade. Injuries, penalties, or fundamentals. What's the Achilles heel of the San Francisco 49ers? It's got to be one of the three. I know, and don't say all of the above. That's not a choice. Pick one. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. That's what we're here for. We'll talk about it. We got the first one right here, injuries. And injuries makes all the sense. And I don't care if every other team is injured. We're talking about our team. Right? We talk about the Niners. Because the players that are injured on the Niners literally are detrimental to how the offense flows and how the defense flows. So injuries are crazy. Let's talk about penalties. Nigel says penalties. Every time we get in a game and we get heavily penalized for making small mental errors. Like, how many times is Nick Bosa, has anybody counted? As much as y'all love the Bosa, I love him. Small beer. Has anybody counted how many times this season his neutral zone infraction penalties? Like, have we counted the neutral zone infraction? I feel like it's at least 5. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. First of all, it's 5 yards. Free 5. God forbid they don't call the play dead and they get a touchdown on it. Then it's a free play. So, like, think about it. Like, penalties are crazy. How many times have the 49ers scored or had an explosive play and it got called back because of a penalty? I'm going with 10. I'm going with 10. Whether it's a touchdown or a 10-yard run or a 20-yard pass, it gets called back, and then it's first and forever. And when it's first and forever, there's not a play call for first and 20. Ladies and gents, you run a screen, and you try to get back at least half of it to make it second and 10. If you get anything over the half, that's a bonus. That's football, though. That's football. So penalties is a big thing. You know what I'm saying? Penalties are huge. So that it could be that. Oh, here we go. I like this, man. This is what I love. I love y'all feedback. Loner Incognito. The coaches are the Achilles heel because this all starts with the coaches. So and there's levels to being fundamentally sound. There's levels to playing mistake-free football. There are levels to even injuries. There are levels to it. And Loner wants to go high. He wants to start at the top. He says the coaches. The coaches are the Achilles heel. Could be. The coaches could be the Achilles heel. However you look at it, they don't have their guys mentally prepared for situational football. That's a thing. I don't think people realize that situational football is a thing. Remember, you talk about the 49ers in practice, they'll run the 4-minute drill. They'll run the 2-minute drill. They'll run the hurry-up offense. These are all situations. All situations. Ty Tanner, issue is discipline. Team lacks discipline as a whole from the top down. So he's talking about are you starting at ownership, management, or coaching, whatever. It doesn't matter. All of these things could be right. Like all of them could be right. You talk about discipline. It comes down to players just being disciplined out there on the football field. And, you usually get undisciplined football when things kind of don't go your way. Things aren't making sense. You're more talented. You're better. Why are we losing? Things like that. I think that's where the discipline comes into play because it's like, this ain't us. That's why I'm telling you, this bye week is crucial. It's the perfect time. Perfect time for the bye week. Straight up. My man Faisal says we should be 6-2, but we need to clean up penalties, discipline, communication. I didn't even talk about communication on defense. Communication on offense, too. There's plenty of times I watch offensive players just not know where to line up. So communication, turnovers, yeah. Like, you name it. You're going to get a lot of that, broski. You're going to get a lot of that when you got a bunch of new, young, fresh players in the lineup. Offensively and defensively. You're going to get a lot of those type of errors, right? Because Kyle Shanahan's offense, as much as we, it's based off of timing. It's guys being in the right place at the right time, executing at the right time for his play calls to kind of work. There's not much room in Kyle Shanahan's offense for ad-libbing because there's literally and out. There's an explosive play in his offensive play calling. Every play call, there's an explosive play. There's a check down. So that's two right there. And then you got your other progressions that Brock can get. You get the intermediate route. And then if the pressure is off, there's an escape route. Doesn't always happen because it comes down to executing. Can the quarterback manipulate the defense to give himself a few yards? And those aren't really drawn up. Like, that's not part of the play call, but there's an escape route in every play. There's time when you take the sack. There's a time when you throw the ball away. You got to think about all of these little mental things. And we can probably give Brock the shits and stuff, but at the end of the day, you know what Brock Purdy is? It just hit me. He's still a third-year quarterback. I don't know about you, but doesn't it feel like Brock's been in the league for about 5-6 years? Nah. He's still playing for less than $1 million a year. Now that I think about it. So he's still learning. Brock's still learning. This season, he had his first full training camp. And I'm not giving him any excuses, but this was his first full training camp as a starting QB. Just let that sink in. First full season. And he didn't have his number one wide receiver because of the contract situation. He didn't have his left tackle because of the contract situation. When you guys say stuff like top up, here's my theory and here's my advice. It's just my advice. Front office, players, if you know front office, if you know you want the player, just give the player the goddamn contract. I don't think players need to be missing camp. I don't think players need to be just you're gonna have to get Trent Williams security. You know that. I knew that. How is it I knew that? I'm not a front office person. So the front office, stop playing the game, pay the man so that they could be there so that this team can gel. That way the fan base not mad at the player all the daggone time. Because at the end of the day, all the players are looking for is security. It's not about being money hungry, money grabbing, all that type of stuff. It comes down to security. So yeah, make sure these players are secured, especially if you know you want them. You don't got to really go back and forth with it. Make them an offer. How about the team makes the player the offer that they can't refuse? What happened to that? I think that would be dope. And I know that's not perfect business. It's my thing is if you know you want that player. If you know you don't want the player, you play the game. But ain't no way you could tell me that the Niners didn't want Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams on this team. You can't tell me that. That doesn't even make sense. I know they entertained it, and I know they did the trade stuff, and I know all that stuff happened, but that's not what I know that's not what the Niners wanted. Why? Because this team was just in the Super Bowl. You look to run it back. But business is business. And stuff happens. Unfortunately, Brandon Ayuk's out for the remainder of the season. Our prayers go out to Brandon Ayuk too. Dog, man, keep your head high. Guys, I need y'all to understand what prayer does. I don't care if you believe in God or not. Just prayer just helps certain forces to not seep in. Gotta pray for him. He didn't sound bad to me. But I can tell he's hurting, and I don't mean physical pain. So if you got a chance to listen to him on his podcast, on his YouTube channel, you'll understand what I'm saying. He didn't sound like. Just know that his situation sounds a lot worse than what it is. When you hear ACL and MCL, we're thinking fully repaired. You know he can't have the surgery right now, and that's eating him up because so literally he can't start his healing process. So his recovery process, excuse me. So got to pray for his mental too. Like mental prayer, minds. Got to pray for him. So keep him in your prayers, man. Brandon Ayuk, keep your head up, dog. You're going to overcome it. And I know that's easy for us to say, but you're going to overcome it. You play in the NFL. You are a lot stronger than most people in the world. And I feel like everybody that plays in the NFL is literally a superhero from a comic book. That's just my theory on it, because it takes superhumans to play this sport or any type of professional sport, because the stuff that you got to put your bodies through to get to a point and be skillfully like great to perform on an elite level, a great level, or it doesn't matter. You make it to a professional level of anything, you're that person. So pray for him as well. It's just crazy. But yeah, like, so the Niners didn't know they were going to lose him for the season. But I think the Niners, just evaluating the team, I think they're doing a good job in with whom they have. Could it be better? Yeah. But it comes down to players believing in themselves. It comes down to certain affirmations from those that believe in some of these players. When you're dealing with people, sometimes you just got to know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. And some players need that. They need that push. They need that. It's easy to put a person down, but sometimes we gotta big up our brothers. We gotta big them up. We gotta lift them up, right? And I think the 49ers just need some uplifting from other than coaches, their comrades. Maybe the fan base can start uplifting some of the players just a little bit. I know we expect them to go out there, play football, do this, do that, but send them some positive thoughts, some positive words, because real life be happening. I don't know if people know, like, life be lifing. But, I know we expect our players to come out there and do their damn thing. The Niners, to me, overall, though, they have looked different, but I think they're doing. I think Kyle Shanahan has done what he could with the group of people that he has, and I think even if he continued to go out there with the same group of people, I feel like it can only go up, because now you're hoping. And that those players are developing, they're understanding Kyle Shanahan's language and the system, right? And it's really good to see Malik Mustafa out there. I don't know about you, but I'm watching the kid make mistakes, and I'm watching him make a play. I'm watching him make mistakes, and I'm watching him make a play. I expect that. I'm watching Ronaldo Green make mistakes, watching him make a play. I'm Jacob Cowling, Ricky Pearsall, like all the young players, like we're watching them, even some of the second year players, right? They're only second year players. They don't mean they're super duper veterans. They just been in the league for a couple of years. Like, you're watching them make mistakes, and then you're watching them make plays. There was a play in this game that let me know, regardless of how we feel, and I'm saying we because we're a family, about Ronnie Bell, it let me know why Ronnie Bell has not been kicked off this team. It was a play where he was blocking, and it was the best block I've ever seen. And I said, Kyle, I get it. I get why he's here. If he could put the receiving part back into his game, he could potentially be something. But nobody realized he's just a second-year player. That was a 7th-round pick. That's what he is. At the end of the day, he's going to have limitations. Just like Brock Purdy has limitations, right? He was the last pick in that draft. Like, limitations Brock Purdy's going to have, and it's okay. So the question is, they just got to get opportunities to get out there and find a way to execute. Everybody, I need all the 49er players to get on the execution plan. I think that's the plan I need them on. They got to go out there and find a way to execute. And that's the thing, right? They got to figure out how to execute. How can I go out there and make the play? How can I go out there and do this? How can I go up there and do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Leon Sandcastle, my guy, we're going to give a shout out real quick to my man, Dominic Pooney. Shout out to Dominic Pooney. 0 sacks, 0 hits. Big step in the right direction on the O-line. Still wish they didn't try to sign practice squad Kingston, though. Yeah, man, they were trying to stash him. They drafted Jared Kingston. He's talking about, was Jared Kingston a 6th-round pick? They were trying to stash him. They literally were. But you know how that goes, Leon. Like, I don't even know what team Kingston went to. I feel like he went to the Cardinals, but I don't know where he is. That's crazy. I guarantee you he'll find his way back to the 49ers. I guarantee it. It's just the game. Like, it's just how it is. They were trying to stash him. We wanted to see what he was going to do coming out of USC. They tried to stash him on the PS, the practice squad. Unfortunately, not unfortunately for the 49ers, he gone. But for him, it's a bonus. He got a contract. We got to be happy that man got a contract. It's just not with the team. But again, that's another player that we haven't been talking about as far as John Feliciano returning from their IR. Like, I'm telling you, like, the Niners got some good players returning. Oh, and I talked about Mooney Ward probably taking time to grieve and whatever. Do you think the Niners will activate Ambry Thomas? Ambry Thomas. It's the Panthers. My bad. But I don't even know if he's playing for the Panthers. That's where he went, though. I don't know if he's playing for the Panthers. Do you think Ambry Thomas is going to get a shot this year with the San Francisco 49ers? I think Christy Marie's responded to me. She says, yes, we do. I mean, you're looking at the cornerbacks room, veteran. I don't want to see him on the football field. I just for his own sake, because the moment if he makes a mistake, man, he's gonna get torched. And I could care less about him going to Michigan at this point. He's been in the NFL for 3 years. But when I say torched, he is going to get roasted by this fan base. It would probably be best for his thing to not. I really love what I see from Renardo Green. I'd rather watch Renardo Green make mistakes opposed to Ambry Thomas coming in and making mistakes. And Renardo, if you're watching, you're making small, minute errors. It ain't nothing to your game. It's just you just don't trust what you see out there, or you're just missing the concept of grasping the concept and what your role is supposed to be. Other than that, I need him. I need more of him. I also want to see what Darrell Luter Jr. can do in coverage. So there's a possibility that they don't call Ambry Thomas up. Still got Darrell Luter Jr. Does he bump up and whatever? We'll see. There's a lot of interchanging can be happening within the 49ers without adding a player from the outside. It's crazy. So Feliciano, I think, will be back if they need him. Do they need him? Do they need him? Do they need John Feliciano right now? We want him, but do the 49ers need him? Boats, what's good, baby? I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if they need him right now. He might be a player they save. Come down, something happens to a lineman, and then boom, 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 he gets the activation. So we'll see what happens. And remember, when you're on the IR, God forbid you go back on it, you can only be brought back, 2 times now because of the rule? I think Kyle Shanahan is willing to just let players chill out on the IR until they're absolutely needed. Absolutely needed, man. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. I appreciate you guys. Let's get down to let's talk about some grades. Let's get to the grades. Let's talk about some grades for the 49ers, midseason grades. Let's start with, and we won't do whole offense. Let's break down each position group. All right, let's start with the quarterbacks. Where you guys got the quarterbacks far as your grades? Because I'm taking in consideration your grades. For me, I feel like Brock Purdy's been a solid B. I feel like there's still some areas where he needs to grow as far as holding on the ball too damn long. That could be one of them. Being a little bit indecisive, that could be another thing. These are the things that I feel like he can work on. Other than that, Brock Purdy has been amazing, right? So time he's holding on to the ball, being a little bit indecisive. And the last thing about Brock Purdy, he just needs to trust his vision. I think he needs to trust what he sees out there on the football field. I know it's hard. I know he's the one playing. But if he could do that, man, the sky's the limit. He's already attempting these throws down the field. And I think that's partly because of what the play calling is asking. But I need Brock to trust what the defense is giving him and get back to being just that efficient, and take your deep shots when the defense is allowing the deep shots. Like when they're playing freaking zone, or he sees the man coverage and he's got his wide receiver out of the backfield on a linebacker, you throw it to Debo every single time. You throw it to that guy every single time. He's being a linebacker, right? Those are the things that Brock, and the other thing, I don't think Brock is comfortable with the blitzing this year. It's weird. I don't know if the blitzing is disguised or if he's looking to get a bigger play off the blitz. Brock, hot route, dog. That's it, man. Look, this is how I would determine the blitz if I was a quarterback. I get it to the line of scrimmage. I'm looking at the line. I know I only got you only get a few seconds because of the play clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 6 people. Somebody's coming at me. I don't know which person it is. Somebody's coming. If you see the linebackers kind of cheating up on that line, Brock, hit that hot route. If the linebacker's playing at his normal depth and he's still blitz, it makes it a little bit different. In this last game, Isaac Arendo's got to pick up that block. But Brock had a guy right in front of him. He could have just dumped the ball off to. It was quick, but that's what a hot route is. It ain't supposed to be like hike, one Mississippi, two Mississippi. Nah, it's hike. Like it's not even a Mississippi. It's hot route. Boom, boom, boom. And that's only for the blitz. Other than that, Brock is tearing defenses up. I think Brock can chew up any freaking defense in this league. It's when they come at him with disguising, blitzing, and the type of ways that they're trying to confuse him. They're confusing Brock, which is normal. He's a third-year quarterback, still learning the nuances of the different defenses that he has to face night in and night out. So I'm going B. I think it's a solid B, and partially is because he don't have his weapons. I think Brock is playing damn good football without the weapons, right? And so he still got George Kittle. He still has Deebo Samuel, and he's got these young guys that he's helping. You could see Ricky Pearsall was used as a slot receiver in this last game, and he was killing. He was always open. It was a quick throw, and it was the efficient. That's what we needed. We didn't ask Ricky Pearsall to run all these crazy routes. It's, hey, man, run this quick out route. Run this quick in route. Run this slant. Run this. Line up in the backfield. Jet sweep. Boom, boom, boom. Like, it's that. It's simplicity. And I love it. I love it. So Brock's doing pretty good. Let's get to the running backs. I know the running backs room is going to be a little different. All right. For the running backs room, I feel like it's a solid B plus for me. I feel like there are issues in the running back room, but the issues aren't as severe as we think. I think pass pro is still a problem. I think that goes way up when Christian McCaffrey returns. As much as I love Jordan Mason, I love Isaac Guerrero. They're the only two guys we really focused on. Their pass protection is still slight. It's not bad. It's just not great. They're not picking up blitzes. They can pick up regular protection, but when there's a blitz and they're kind of off and these guys take certain angles, they're missing. And it forces Brock to speed up the process, right? So they have to be better in their blitz pickup. But as far as running the ball, I think, Jordan Mason has been a godsend. So it's B plus. It's and if Jordan Mason didn't suffer a shoulder injury, my gosh, he'd probably be an A. You know what I mean? For Jordan Mason. So Trainwreck says A at running, F at pass. So average the 2 out for me. Give me a 95. And what's your F? Is your F like a 55? Because it's not bad pass pro, but it ain't passing pass pro. So if you give me a 95 and a 55, divide those 2 by 2. That's your grade, Trainwreck, for the run game. That's your grade. B plus. Me and Manny sitting together. 49er Jeff B minus. Ronnie 33 gives it an A. Gives it an A. Hey, I'm not mad at it. Yeah, I'm not mad at it at all. A minus from Boats on the running game. It's not easy to keep. It's not. It is not. It is not. To keep swap new running backs, maintain. I'm with you, bro. It's tough. It's tough. And that averaged out to a B minus. There you go. There you go. I like it. I like it a lot. And so yeah, like I think the running game isn't as crisp, but they have been. And you're not gonna like it. I'm gonna use my sound effect. The run game has been more explosive without Christian McCaffrey. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. It has been more explosive. There's been more explosive runs from Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerrero this season than it has been with Christian McCaffrey. Where the run game struggles, short yardage, red zone, goal line. I know y'all not hearing me out. I understand. Listen. Here's what I mean. It's just they're getting more explosive runs, more 10-yard gains, more runs over 10 yards. But at the end of the day, they can't finish. And that's the difference. Christian McCaffrey, finisher. Did he have explosive runs? For sure. But they weren't as many. Every time Jordan Mason gets the ball, like it could be a 10-yard run. That's an explosive run. So when I say explosive, anything over 10 yards plus. Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerrero, that's what they're giving you. But they can't finish at the goal line. I didn't say that they were better than Christian McCaffrey. I said it's been more explosive. More explosive. And I know Christian McCaffrey rushed for a lot because the volume was high. He was giving the ball all the time. So yeah, the difference between Christian McCaffrey and this run game is how efficient it is and how they're able to finish at the goal line. I'm just saying it's a little different. The way the explosives work, and I feel like the Niners have been more explosive this year than they have been efficient, and the stats show that. The stats show Brock taking throws down the field. The stats show this is that. Like I'm telling you, like more explosive runs from Jordan Mason. You're getting nothing but explosive runs from Isaac Guerrero. It's either explosive or 1 yard gain. Think about it. Like that's what you're seeing from these two running backs. Christian McCaffrey is the even kill because he's also the threat in the pass game. So the defenses are going to defend him a lot different. They ain't stacking the box like they'll stack the box for Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerrero. They're not going to stack the box. They won't stack the box as often from a defensive perspective because you're a little scared of Christian McCaffrey. Let's get to the wide receivers. Oh, I don't like the wide receivers this year. I think the wide receiving room is at like, I got to include George Kittle in the wide receivers, right? So receiving, we got to include, so we're going to put the tight ends and the receivers together. And with that, B-, C+, B-, B-. Like, listen, before the Brandon Ayuk injury, he really gave us nothing. Ronnie Bell, nothing. You're starting to get some chains move from Ricky Pearsall with his return. Jacob Cowan gave you one explosive play. It's been all Debo, and it's been all George Kittle. And George Kittle's been the best receiver this year. He's been the most available, and down the field, he's the guy. And I'm kind of like at the C plus B minus. You gave him a D? Damn, Gina, really? You gotta put the D explanation in here. You gotta put you was going on straight wide receivers. All right, Jeff. So C plus. I feel like we can't even. Jawan Jennings had one game and then got injured. One game and got injured. So it's like Debo had one game. Like listen, B- is where I think they are. Now, you get a healthy Jennings, a healthy Debo, and you intertwine this rookie and Ricky. Y'all about to see something we ain't seen yet. So that's why I'm saying, like, the Niners offense is just getting started. Literally just getting started. It's unfortunate that Ayuk can't be a part of it this year, but it's literally just getting started. And I'm excited for it. I am. Jawan Jennings coming back changes everything. I think the room will finish in the A- range, B+ to A- range, because of the way he stretches the field, the way they can utilize him in the slot. He's a killer in the slot. The way he gets open in the middle of the field, his third down percentage, like that all changes. And I feel like it's the reason why some of these plays aren't bailed out, because there's no Jawan Jennings on the football field. Like, you don't have him on the field. He hasn't been there for the past 2 or 3 weeks. So Jennings definitely makes the receiving core a lot better. But it's C+ B- for me. Ty says no separation, no yak. Kyle's system is weird. Like, it's schemed, so you don't really need the separation, but then you got to be able to get the yak. But if you get the separation, you got to be in the right spot. I don't know. You're right. No separation, no yak. It's weird. It's just a weird thing. You know what I mean? It's a weird thing. Jack says, I think we're about to open up the gates and ball out and say half. The gates you ain't never lied. Like, it's about to be crazy. It's about to be crazy. 49ers throwback. Wayne, my issue is the defense. They can't seem to close out games. Here's my theory on the defense. We're going to get to that. Let's finish. Did we finish? Oh, offensive line. Offensive line grades in the chat. I feel like the offensive line has been a solid B. Solid B. They're not giving up a lot of sacks. They're giving up pressures, but they're not like a lot of pressures. You know what? Let me stop cheating and let me do this. And I can tell you, you tell me if this is a lot of pressures. You ready? All right. So let me go ahead and get the pressures dialed up here. Let me get the 49ers. Let's get their report. And this is how many pressures the offensive line has given up this season. You tell me so far if this is a lot by the mid-tier grade. All right, so where am I at? Pressures. Here we go. Oh, God. Jesus. Nah, this can't be right. So far as from an offensive line perspective, they've only given up 4 sacks this season. Interesting. I like it. All right, as far as pressures, 85. 85. I mean, if 4 of them are sacks, because you got to remember, a lot of the Brock Purdy sacks aren't from the offensive line. Now, I ain't saying that the 49ers offensive line is great, but I think because of some of the players, it raises the grade of the offensive line. I'm not saying that Brendo doesn't need to be replaced, but that's who they rocking with. It is what it is. I'm not saying that McKivitz needs to be, but that's who they rocking with. Like, that's who they rocking with. You know what I mean? It's B- for me. No, it's a solid B. I gave it a solid B. Solid B. Remember that. Solid B. Train wreck. A-. The fact that Pointy on the left side means that now defenses can't cheat and stack the left side. So what Trainwreck is saying is, from a defensive perspective, they would like sometimes you would see defenses overload to the weaker side. He's saying that Pooney no longer, I know what you mean. Pooney no longer makes the side weak. They have to play honest. They have to play even front, right? Like I'll put 3 guys on one side to kind of overload it. I kind of like it. I like that. I like that a lot. I know what you meant, dog. I know. It's opposite. I get it mixed up all the time. I'd be like, yo, left side takes the right side and the right side take the left. That's what it is. But I'd be thinking the left side is on the left side, right side is on the right side. But the mirror image thing, you know what I mean? I got you, bro. Trust me, man. We be here. For sure. I love this show, man. I was nervous. I don't know why I get nervous when I do these shows. It'd be so weird. We just having a conversation. Boats, B+, which is a great grade. For the lack of resources we have to put into our offense. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's been a solid B. They've only given up 4 sacks per PFF. They've only given up 4 sacks? I don't care if you give up 1,000 pressures. If the sacks is 4, hit me with it one more time. Dang, that's a low number. I do believe that Purdy helps out in escaping some of those sacks, but there's the pressure, right? So that's the pressure. But if he's not getting hit, if he's not getting touched, it's a funny, weird number. But the pressures are there. The pressures are up there. It's 85. Our offensive line is going to give up pressures because of the way that the offense moves. I think Purdy is escaping to make a play. Everything is not staying in the pocket, blah, 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 blah. It's not how it works. And then when they blitz him, I mean, obviously he's having some trouble. But, you know, my issues are, you want to talk about penalties? I saw penalties. I saw false starts. I got you, baby. Trust me when I say I got you. Do I have the penalties? Y'all don't want to know how many penalties the offense got. Who do you think? Which side do you think has more penalties? The offensive side or the defensive side? Put that in the chat. Offensive side or defensive side? We're going to defensive grades next too, by the way. We're going to start with the front. Offensive side or defensive side? Which which side you think has more penalties? All right, I got 1 O from Trainwreck. Trainwreck gave it an O. He's saying offense. All right. Let me just pull up the defensive side real quick. I want to see how many penalties on this daggone defense. Jesus. I feel like the defensive ones hurt because they put them in, especially the PIs. The PIs, oh man, the PIs are crazy. But penalty wise, I just made a face. I just made a crazy face too now that I think about it. All right, so somebody said the D, offense D. All right, Big Daddy Niner says defense. Boat says defense has more. Now, the defense totally, Boats is correct. The defense has more penalties. They have a total of, I would say, 33 penalties. Hold on, I could be wrong. They have 33 penalties. The offensive side has a total of 32 penalties. Now, the offensive side has 28 that have counted, and the defensive side only has 24 that counted. So the offense technically has more penalties that go against them than the defense, but in totality, the defense has more penalties. Isn't that what kind of shit is? What kind of, man? Look, here's my point. Get that stuff together. Get it together. Y'all told me earlier on the show one of the issues were penalties. Y'all said penalty. The numbers don't lie. I like when we can get into the numbers. Numbers don't lie. The penalties, they up there. They stall drives. They do so many different things for the San Francisco 49ers that it's crazy, right? You score a touchdown, get called back because of a hold. You get an explosive play, get called back because of a hold or a legal procedure or whatever. Like, you pull the ref's pants down or something. Anything to put the Niners back down a distance, and now they got to find a way to dig themselves out of a hole. Defensively, they play great tight coverage defense, and it's a PI. I've seen more PI calls. I feel like there's more PI calls than I've seen defensive holding, which is why I don't want Ambry Thomas back out there on the football field, because them holds, them 5-yard plays, they'll go up. They just do. He's a grabby guy. I think the Niners, they might want to keep these young guys out there who are less grabby, a lot less grabby. They might get a PI, which hurts them longer because where the ball's thrown. Let's get to these defensive grades. Let's start with the front. Defensive front, I think it is what it is, man. You lose Javon Hargrave at the beginning of the season, and your rotation is off the cuff, just like slashed. Rotation off the cuff. Now, I will say this. The San Francisco 49ers defense as a whole, not just the line, but the defense as a whole, has a total of 149 pressures. That deserves the bell. 24 sacks as a whole per PFF. Now, PFF doesn't grade half a sack, so that number can be less. So if Nick Bosa has a half a sack, it gets boosted up to 1. I just want to put that out there. All the pressure numbers, all that stuff is still the same, but the sacks can be inflated. So when I use PFF numbers, do know that the sacks are inflated. Not just for the Niners, though, for every team. There's no such thing as a half a sack. They give it to both players. They give the full sack to both players. So Nick Bosa is leading the team. Oh, Nick Bosa and Leonard Floyd are tied at 5 sacks. I think they probably both have 4.5 too, now that I think about it. So that's where you go. And then you got Kevin. I didn't know Kevin Givens had 4 sacks. Malik Collins, 4 sacks. I think the defensive front gets an A-. I think the front defense, I'm giving it an A-, not based off of just sacks, but they've been a lot better in stopping the run. I'm going to go A- there. I like the additions, Jordan Elliott, Malik Collins. I think Kevin Givens has been a great addition. I think getting Khalil Davis back has been huge. I think I need to see more Evan Anderson out there. I like the defensive front. What do you guys got? You got a C. I see some C's. I see some, let's see, Ty gave it a C. I'm trying to see what else I got from the defensive front. B, solid B. Yeah, what can make the defensive front a little bit more better? Rashawn, we agree on the A-. What can make it a little bit more better? I like the context. Boat says B, due to high pressure on a quarterback, but not A due to. I'm starting to realize that when the Niners play teams, I don't know. And then Boats, I know you watch a lot of football because I know you. Don't you see when we play teams, most teams, there's a stat out there. I gotta figure it out. Most teams are getting the ball out of their hand so quickly. Do you think that helps due to the low number of sacks? Like, we're just not able. Now, there has been some we've missed. There's been some where I watched Nick Bosa pause, be on the guy, and right? But I feel like teams are just getting the ball out super quick, trying to negate the pass rush of the 49ers. And when the 49ers do over pursue, it's a screen throw. It's a run outside. Now they broke containment. It's so weird. But hey, man, I respect that grade. 1,000%. Like, we all see it differently, so I respect it. The sacks aren't there. I'm a sack guy. I want sacks, pause. I want the Niners defense to result in sacks. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think I'm starting to see, like, and it started last year, and it started when we played Matthew Stafford. I don't know if you remember that. I never saw Matthew Stafford get the ball out of his hands in less than 2 seconds in my life. He is a guy that wants to throw the ball down the field. And he did it against us this year. He threw the ball down the field because he didn't have his weapons to get the ball out of his hand quickly. So plays had to develop, and he beat us. Big Daddy Niners says B+. Jax Knox, B+. B plus. Yeah, man. I think the defensive front is on point. Let's go to the mid tier of the defense. Let's go to the linebackers. And the linebackers led by Fred Warner, who, in my opinion, is an A plus. But then there's the rest of the linebackers. I'm like at a solid C. Like, I mean, if it's A plus, then it's D plus, D plus, D plus. I just don't think that averages out to a high grade, in my opinion. So Fred Warner, A plus. I see, and look, David R. Fred Warner, A plus. I'm with you. Fred Warner, A plus. I'm with you 1,000%. But it's a solid C for me. Big Daddy Niner says B minus. I think they're getting better. But D Winters, love him a lot. Can't stay healthy. Flanagan Fowles, just not a great linebacker. Tatum Bethune, young, rookie, still learning the game. Devondre Campbell, can't cover. Speed, lack of speed. Great tackler, great physical linebacker. The game ain't physical like that anymore. He's not playing middle linebacker number one to where he can use his strength to force that big defender off of him. And he's asked to play outside, and he's hurting. He's struggling. So it's a Trainwreck says Fred brings him up to a B minus. I'm still at the C. I can't get past the C. C plus. Maybe C plus would be great for me. Yeah, Fred's an A plus, man. Fred's an A plus. They could do better at stopping the run up the middle. So was watching the film on that too, man. I'm starting to realize what's good. So, linebackers, this be their job. They got to know which gap to shoot, A gap, B gap, boom, fire up. What's happening is lately Fred's been getting linemen on him. That starts with the defensive front. So I need the defensive front to do their job and soak up these daggone linemen. Like, if you want our linebackers attacking these gaps, I'm going to need that to happen. And Boats, this goes to the missed tackles. So when you start to see the missed tackles, it's because there's a center on a linebacker. There's a tackle on a linebacker. I mean, physically, that's just a tough battle. You know what I mean? If they're getting to the second level like that, it's kind of rough. Now, it's not an excuse. Got to find a way to shed the block. That's what they do in practice. But I need the defensive line to do their goddamn job. Like, your job, take them linemen on one-on-one, two-on-one, however one, whatever, so that the linebackers can shoot those gaps. It'd be tough. For that, we need a defensive tackle and an end. Yeah, I respect it. Like, I understand. Like, trust me. I don't think as bad as we thought Hargrave was playing, we're missing him. We're missing him. And he wasn't the big run stuffing defensive tackle, but he was double teamed a lot. We're missing him. Whether we like it or not, we're missing him. Ty Tanner says, I grouped them in with the DBs on their grade. We can't stop third and long. This is, to me, though, the reason why we can't stop third and long be partly because of the coaching. I think they go to man coverage on third and long instead of playing zone, and we get beaten man every single time. It has not been one time where we won. Every single time. And it's an underneath man. It's a man underneath. Two man, whatever they playing, two, whatever. It don't matter. Just the man coverage, we struggle with on third and long. And so, like, if we're giving up, if we're playing too deep, the two deep safeties, if they're playing up at the top and your linebackers are giving space for the ball to be caught, it's like, damn, like, they're getting beat. And when they come out, usually we are in our nickel package. It's a wide receiver, broski, on a mother freaking linebacker. It wins every time. If a wide receiver can't beat a linebacker, he should get a new job in the NFL. And God forbid it be like the wide receiver too. Like, I mean, how many times did you count DK Metcalf on a linebacker in that game? First play of the game, he was on Devondre Campbell. Then at the end of the game, he was on Fred Warner. Fred can't cover CeeDee Lamb. It's some receivers Fred can keep up with. That's CeeDee Lamb, bruh. Scheme. That's coaching. I didn't get my linebackers off of these guys. But if you're in nickel package, they got three wideouts. Your job is to cover wherever they put the guy. You just got to do your best. The team got to figure it out. And I think that is an issue with the San Francisco 49ers. Speaking of that, let's get to these DBs. We're talking safeties and cornerbacks. Safeties and cornerbacks. I'm at the B minus. I feel like it's a solid B minus for me. I think Diamador Lenoir's having an all-pro year, hands down. Started off with penalties, fixed it. Started off giving up explosives, fixed it. On the opposite side, I think Charvarius Ward has been struggling in and out, being in and out of the lineup. He had to deal with an injury as well this season. He came in off of an injury. And I think it's just taking him a little bit more time to get acclimated back to the game. But I like what I saw in the Dallas game. Didn't get beat, didn't get burnt, made the tackles. It's what we want. It's what we need. Don't give up explosives. Not one on him. Diamador Lenoir gave him an explosive play, but not one on Ward. So I like what I saw. I feel like it's still a B minus because now in the rotation, now it's the nickel. That's where the Niners communicate. This is where the communication is the biggest issue to me. It's in the back end. It's in the secondary. And it's because they're young. You don't know Hufanga. You got to go with, George Odom. I forgot about George Odom. He was injured. He didn't even play last week, right? So, George Odom, who we all feel may not just be a starting safety in the NFL. And it's okay. Every player has a role. You want to know why the special teams has been struggling? George Odom's been starting on defense. George Odom goes back to special teams. I guarantee you special teams will go up. So it's a B minus for me. It has a lot room to improve. Love what I'm seeing from Mustafa, but he still needs a lot of work. Love what I'm seeing from Ronaldo Green, but he still needs a lot of work. I didn't like Isaac Yiadom. I still don't. But on them 4 plays, it was 4 plays. Man, where's my book? If I'm rambling on, my apologies. I feel like this is a good rambling show. Here we go. 4 plays. Fourth quarter, 3-minute, 5-second mark. That's when the defense said, F this, we out. We getting off this foot. We winning this game. You want to talk about closing? Go back and watch the last 3 minutes of the San Francisco 49ers football game against Dallas Cowboys. I got them all right here. I got my notes. I break them down on the Patreon, but I'll give to you what I got note-wise. Real short, quick, right? Pass, incomplete, 4th play. It was good defense, incomplete pass. Second, pass, incomplete. You had pressure from Malik Collins up the middle. I don't know how he got up the middle, but he forced Dak to throw another incomplete pass. 2:55-minute mark. It was another incomplete pass. Unfortunately, it was a play that Diamador Lenoir got burnt on. Kind of reminded me of his rookie season when he got burnt by Watkins from the Philadelphia Eagles. He got burnt. That was a drop. It says incomplete. That was a drop. Turpin just dropped it. The ball was perfectly placed over the head to him. And I don't know. He just dropped it. That was a drop. That was Dak Prescott's best throw of his career. He dropped it. All right, so we got help right there. And then the last play, man, they forced that incomplete pass again because you had good defense. Guess from who? Isaac Yiadom. So on them 4 plays, I'm going to give a round of applause to Nick Sorensen. Here's why. He made the adjustment. So the defense, the secondary is promising. The secondary is promising. I think they got enough young people in that building that's going to be the future of the 49ers, and they're going to continue to get their opportunities. But when they need to make an adjustment, I think they also have the right veterans in the building. It ain't like they got Josh Norman there. It ain't like them guys. Nah. Isaac Yiadom came in on those 4 plays and made sure he locked man, zone. I'm not leaving my spot. He covered the flat on one of the plays, took a throw away from Dak Prescott. He couldn't throw it to the flat because he was there. I remember him struggling in the flat assignment when they do those bunch formations. I remember that. You going back to the first. So you're seeing progression from the defense. So, to end this show, to cap the show out, the Niners at 4-4, they're good. They're good. Can they be better? Yes. Will they be better? Yes. Are they going to get players back? Yes. And that is the bright side. So, some people may feel we just still don't know. We don't know who we are. That's fine because we don't. We haven't seen it yet. I understand that. But I do know that they're going to be getting some players back from the IR. Special teams, if you want to give special teams a grade overall, it's got to be it can't be higher than a C. I just don't see anything higher than a C on special teams. If you give it higher, they had one game, which was last week that I thought was kind of like in the A range, A minus at that. One game. Other than that, they've been giving up explosives after explosives. They gave up a touchdown this year. They got faked on against the Rams on a punt. Like, it's just bad. So if you give it anything higher than a C, then you talk about me being a fan guy. You are a fan, right? I C minus even at that. Special team still needs work, but Jake Moody could be returning after the bye week, and then the Niners will figure out what they're going to be doing. The Niners brought in. I wanted to end the show on this. The Niners brought in punters. They worked punters out, and guess who's on that list? My man, Presley Harvin. I don't know what's wrong with Mitch Wishnowsky, but if you want to know somebody that looked different, it's him. His net average is terrible this year. And remember, Mitch was kicking the ball to spots to get the Niners and flip the field position. He hasn't been good all year. Presley Harvin was the kid that inspired the 49ers. He came in the preseason, and we were like, yo, now you know you're not going to keep two punters on the roster, but there's a possibility depending on what's going on with Mitch Wishnowsky. I think he may be dealing with some type of injury. He had an injury at the beginning of the season. There's potential that's hindering him this year, and he might be placed on the IR. So just keep that in mind. They worked out some punters. I don't know what that means, but they worked out some punters. You guys have been an amazing audience and whatnot. MVP of the offensive player. I'm not going to do MVPs yet. Offensive player as of right now for the San Francisco 49ers. I think it goes to Brock Purdy. I think taking what he's given, he's making the best just about out of every situation. You're watching him learn the ins and the outs, the nuances of football. He's learning how to play when he doesn't have his weapons and he's faced with adversity. And he's been doing it all season, and he's been keeping his numbers and flow of some of the great passers this year in the NFL. Now he has to translate that into helping his team win games consistently. I think they're going to flip the switch. So Brock Purdy will be my offensive player of the year. Defensive player of the year, this is tough because it's Fred Warner. But Nick Bosa is playing really good football, and I love it. But it's got to be Fred Warner for me. I know he's had a couple of games this season where he wasn't like the super pro Fred. He was just a normal Fred. But Fred Warner right now, defensive player of the year for the 49ers. So offensive player, Brock Purdy. Defensive player, Fred Warner. And I'm sure that's going to change. I'm sure it's going to, go in and out. You might be having a career year from George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel might flip a switch. And it'd be crazy if Christian McCaffrey comes back and in 9 games rushes over 1,000 yards. I would lose my mind. I would lose my shit. I literally would. I definitely would. I literally would lose my mind if that happened. It is what it is, but you guys have been an amazing audience. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Shout out to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Don't forget to like this joint, man. Make sure you following me, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out some of the other videos, man. I got the fantasy football show called What's Your Fantasy? If you're into fantasy football, man, get in that comment section. Ask your questions. Peachy and I will respond. We appreciate you. We love you. Keep it faithful to the Bay and enjoy this bye week. Love y'all.